But we're now, multiple years into the Biden administration. No work is even being done in this area. There's no hope that we're going to join the community of other countries on this topic. And it's ridiculous that we've gotten to 2024 and you might still be stuck spending just a couple of days or hell, maybe 2 weeks with your new child post-birth. What do you think, Sharon?
I think it's silly. You're right. The 2 weeks. It's ridiculous. Can you imagine if you didn't have support and you were told to get back to work and be highly productive? Okay, this is a CEO who I would suspect if the woman came back in 2 weeks would be on her to be a high achiever again. And it's just the fact that I feel like we're always last. Women are an afterthought. We're depending on people like Ivanka to do some kind of, family leave, increase it or something during her father's administration. This is how silly. You want to invest in people and for America to heal and try to do better. It actually starts with bonding with your baby and feeling good about raising a child.
Yeah, 100%. And or at the very least, can we stop having like politicians talk about how, like absentee fathers or parents not being invested enough is the reason that, society has gone to hell. Well, you sure don't seem to be working on filling in that gap. Anyway, that is unfortunately all the time we have for the show today. Sharon, it was a pleasure to have you step in on Big News Wednesday. Hope to see you again very soon. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
And thank you all for watching. As I said, tomorrow is our Tier 3 members hangout all over on YouTube. So if you're a member at Tier 3, hope to see you there. Feel free to upgrade your membership or become a Tier 3 member if you'd like to hang out with us. We talk about sometimes a little bit of politics, mostly not politics. We just hang out, chill, talk about movies and books and stuff. It's a lot of fun, and I hope to see you there. I will be joining the second hour in the bonus episode of The Young Turks later on today. So I hope to see you there as well. For now, though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and I'll see you soon. That was great, Sharon. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Welcome. It's indisputable. I'm your host, Rashad Richey. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today. Breaking down news of the day, none other than Wosny Lambre, TYT All-Star contributor. Always fascinating to have his analysis. Top story of the day, superintendent of schools has decided to take out an ad against one of his own students. Interesting. This is an update, all because of the student's hairstyle. Let's put it up full mass. You remember this? Texas. That guy is Dr. Greg Poole. Dr. Greg Poole defended the continued suspension of the young Daryl George. You see, Dr. Greg Poole has the top job in this Texas district, went to school for a long time, got his doctoral degree in order to go against students in the local media. This was over his locs hairstyle, full-page newspaper ad paid for by an education foundation. Daryl George, the young man, has been suspended repeatedly by the Barbers Hill Independent School District for his hair. The teen's family filed a federal civil rights lawsuit saying the punishment violates the Crown Act, and it does. Let's put up the ad. The ad that appeared Sunday in the Houston Chronicle was written by the superintendent, Dr. Greg Poole himself. One of the quotes, "Being an American requires conformity with the positive benefit of unity," he stated, referencing strict codes at the military academies. Quote, "We have taken the highly unusual step of seeking a declaratory judgment in state district court to verify our interpretation," Poole went on to write. Now, a declaratory judgment is basically when an entity seeks a decision prior to full judicial litigation. They're looking for a judge to declare that you are right on your interpretation of the rules. Declaratory judgment. All right? Let's put up the family and the leaders, so-called, who are against them. So the family of George filed a lawsuit against Governor Greg Abbott and the state attorney general, Ken Paxton. This is in the Texas Southern District Court, arguing that they failed to enforce the law outlawing discrimination based on hairstyles. Keep the picture up. The family is correct in their lawsuit, in their interpretation, in the assertion. The school district, they're not seeking remedy from the federal court. Remember, the federal court is the entity that would enforce federal law. They're seeking remedy through state court, hoping that the state court will have a vastly different interpretation of the constitutional protection. So Poole alleged that the family's lawyer said she wants to bankrupt the school district and its leaders during the legal proceedings. The district's policy does not prohibit students like George from wearing locks or braids, but it does limit hairstyles for boys, banning anything, quote, that would allow the hair to extend below the top of a t-shirt collar, below the eyebrows, or below the earlobes when let down. Okay, that's their claim. So Poole's letter in the ad says the child moved to the district from one that allows longer hair, and every family has to sign an agreement to follow the district rules. Quote, ultimately, this is an issue of local control and deciding who should be setting the policies, goals, and expectations of our school district, Poole wrote. The messenger has reached out to the Barbers Hill Education Foundation, which paid for the ad, for a comment on the advertisement. No comment yet. They are literally conspiring against a child who actually is right on the law, and citing the insanity of, well, he moved out of a district that allows such things to a district that does not. You see, you can't really waive your actual legal and constitutional rights in a government operation. Understand that the school receives government funding. The rules that apply must be equitable to all. If you read his op-ed, if I can call it that, advertorial more than anything, if you read it, he actually admits, Mr. Superintendent actually admits what they are doing is unfair to one gender. He admits that. He doesn't go as far as to talk about the race issue, but he does admit to absolute discrimination, which, by the way, is prohibited, regardless of what someone signed. All right, Wosny, this is a hell of a thing. I remember there was a guy a few years ago, right? He took out an ad as well against some young black kids because he believed that, believed it or not, he wanted people to believe that they, in fact, should be killed. And he never retracted that, even though the evidence was contrary to his own proclamation. This seems to be the same spirit here, different circumstance.
Yeah, in 2024, the idea that we're still adjudicating stuff like the hair of young black people is absurd. And I do want to get to the core of this guy's idiotic argument about the things that people have to conform to within the military. One, the military is an all-volunteer force. As opposed to this young man going to high school, which is compulsory, meaning he has to go to school. You know, he has no other choice. He has to be at school. And so the idea that a place that he has to be at is forcing him to change his hair, which doesn't disrupt his ability to learn in school or others. And, you know, this is before we get to the rights of this guy. It's ridiculous. And again, in the military, and we're citing this because this is what this guy cited in his argument. In the military, we're training our official killing machine, okay? Like, you're training when you're gonna be in situations where you can pay the ultimate price. We can understand this idea that everybody needs to conform to these rules because they're gonna keep people alive. Why are you comparing school, high school, to the military? It just makes absolutely no sense. And of course, obviously, this is racial in its discriminatory nature. And yeah, they're going to get their butts whipped in court, I hope.
Yeah, they will. Absolutely, no doubt about it. And to the attorney is not bankrupting the school. Literally, the principal and the superintendent are engaged in conduct to bankrupt their own school district. All right, we'll follow as it continues to update. New Hampshire. Yeah, Trump won New Hampshire. And guess what? The people who voted for him, they would like him to bring back public hangings. Here it is.
I'm giving you, 20 seconds to say something to President Biden. If you had him right here and the camera was President Biden.
I can't say what I want to say. I'm sorry.
Well, say something that conveys.
I wish they would bring public hangings back. Simple as that. Okay, but then you gotta say. I think they should bring public hangings back and hang people like Joe Biden.
Yeah, that's what he said. There's more, actually. Let's put up the graphic here. No surprise, Nikki Haley lost, okay? During the New Hampshire primary, Michael Schur, who does a great job, spoke to a Trumper who had a message for Biden, which was what you just heard. Trump will go on to win the primary, beating out Nikki Haley with over 54% of the vote. Despite her losing, Haley remained defiant, saying, quote, "This race is far from over. There are dozens of states left to go. And the next one is my sweet state of South Carolina." Trump had attacked Haley viciously. He mocked her Indian first name, falsely suggested she was ineligible to be president because she was not born in the United States. Haley's parents immigrated from India and settled in South Carolina in the 1960s. Now, remember, Haley says not only does racism not exist, she has experienced racism, but racism was not a building block or foundational principle of America. That's what she said. So obviously, whatever Trump is doing against her by mentioning her ethnic name has nothing to do with racism. There's more. Although Trump handily won among registered Republicans in New Hampshire, the results also demonstrate the hurdles Trump could face in a general election. Haley performed marginally better among voters registered as undeclared, according to the exit polls. And those independent voters will be critical to any win in November. Trump's aides have argued that Haley should drop out of the race before those votes take place. And if she does not, then be prepared for a campaign to be demolished and embarrassed. Donald Trump is going to come up with a new bad name for her. All right. Michael Schur spoke to some more New Hampshire voters. Here it is.
What we're seeing an awakening in this country and a returning to godly principles, godly morality. We have no more tolerance. Tolerance is not a virtue in the Bible at all. Tolerance means to simply turn a blind eye to the convictions you once held. And that is going to be gone. We're not going to be tolerant of sin. We're not going to be tolerant of the woke agenda, of the radical left. And Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. That's very clear.
If he were to lose again, what would that mean for the country?
He will not lose. I'm a missionary and an evangelist. Okay, I pastor a ministry called Alpha Numa Ministries, and we're doing everything we can to see that America turns back to God, that America has another great awakening like it did in ancient times past, and that this nation becomes a Christian nation again. We want Christian elected officials. We don't believe in the separation of church and state to such a radical degree that we become a Marxist state. And we're done with it. America's done with it. The MAGA base is done with it. We're done with it. Second Amendment is in place for us to take up arms against a tyrannical government. It's a protection for that. And listen, are we going to fight the government with a tyrannical government with handguns or machine guns? Whatever this is, if the government is tyrannical and goes unconstitutional and goes against our founding documents and becomes a Marxist state, that Second Amendment is for we the people.
Sir, your God is Lucifer. Trump is not actually a Christian. He's playing you fools. Also, the reality is this. Well, if you believe Donald Trump is bringing some kind of awakening and you are against sin, the man literally told you he likes to sin. He said he grabs women by the vajayjay because he can. He cheated on his wife, paid a woman on record. We have the receipts. In addition to that, when Trump was posed the question, have you ever asked God to forgive you of anything? Trump paused for roughly 5 seconds, looked at the interviewer and said, no. According to Christian context, in order to enter into the kingdom, you must ask for forgiveness. Who do you think your God is, sir? If you have to take up guns in order to be victorious for your side to win, where's the divinity that is supposed to protect you, fight your battles? Vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord. These things are in scripture. All right, so here's the thing, Wosny. These individuals in a cult, right? They're in a cult. They have a cult-like behavior. They've had it for a very long time. They're even more indoctrinated now than they were the first time. And I looked at this, I said, why is Trump winning in these Republican primaries even more so than he did the first time when we all thought it was just a huge anomaly, right? And here's what I've come up with. I think the indoctrination of a normative occult-like society has taken root, which simply means the belief system does not get less real to them, it gets more real to them. The indoctrination becomes more prevalent inside of their thinking. And so they can seem very, very rational in a lot of other areas except this one particular area. And I think this is exactly what you're seeing. And I don't believe that individuals like him are are lying when they talk about taking up guns against the actual government of the United States. What say you?
Yeah, that first individual, I'm not gonna lie, he seemed a little disturbed. I don't know if
Mm.
he's on some level of substances or if he's having a mental health sort of break. He seemed not to have it all up there to just to insinuate that what we're getting wrong in America is that we don't have public hangings anymore. Not that we don't have a strong middle class, not that labor density and strength has diminished over the years. Some of the most prosperous points in time of this country. Not that we used to mind our business and not try to freaking bomb the hell out of every single country abroad. Not that we used to, hold those kinds of principles. This guy thinks what we're missing is public hangings. Obviously, he's got a couple of screws loose, and the individual who had the Jesus caucus for Trump or whatever he had up there, just this idea that you could be a Christian and not believe in the principle of tolerance. I mean, that's quite laughable. You've clearly been reading a different Bible altogether. The idea is that in Christianity, what you want is less tolerance for folks, more disdain for your neighbors, less service, less charity. It's absolutely absurd. And yeah, to a certain point, I feel like these people aren't very serious people in terms of the problems that face our country. It's just about picking up a pom-pom and waving them for your favorite celebrity as if it was a sports team, as if you were a disgruntled Dallas Cowboys fan or perhaps a Falcons fan, Dr. Ritchie. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous.
I get your point about the branding, and I do believe we have been a branded culture where we want to buy brands, consume brands, even in our political atmosphere. But you still got folk like him that stormed the Capitol. And this federal government did not, in my opinion, respond adequately enough to that to stop that from happening in the future, which you can stop this from happening, believe it. All right, hell of a thing. Nazis, neo-Nazis, they go to a university and they do this.
We are everywhere! There will be blood! 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 White men! We don't need no black shit! White men built this! We don't need no black shit! White men built this!
You have to imagine, they literally practiced this in the, their mother's basement before they came to the university. They had the chants. Somebody had to type out a script. They probably edited it a few times. And then someone purchased one of those. Let's play it one more time. They purchased this thing from somewhere in order to do this. We'll play it again. Here it is.
We are everywhere! There will be blood! 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 White men! We don't need no black shit! White men built this! We don't need no black shit! White men built this!
Yeah, I would have walked up to them and said, guys, are you shooting a movie? This is part of a film? Put it up full mass. It's actually real. Per the Root, white supremacist group made their presence known at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater when students who had returned to campus after a long holiday break had their evenings interrupted by the group chanting racist remarks and projecting hate symbols on campus buildings. Let's put up the school chancellor. According to a statement from Courier King around 5 p.m. Monday, the university campus police received reports about a group of 4 people causing a disturbance outside of Nillen's Hall or Nillen's Residence Hall. The disturbance they caused was captured on video by a witness. The group appeared to be men dressed in black and red. They projected a series of phrases, including tread or die and blood tribe and the image of a swastika. In the video, the group is heard chanting, "We are everywhere. There will be blood, blood, blood. And also, white men built this." end quote. On this first day of the semester, I asked all of us to reaffirm our commitment to our core values and not let the actions of an outside group that seeks to incite hate, division, and fear take us off course, the chancellor said in the response to the message. The actions of the group last night are abhorrent and go against our core values. We reject hate in all its forms. Chancellor, let's put the chancellor back up. I understand, Chancellor, you are in a position of high public trust in academia. This is a different type of opposition to education. You may want to say, we're going to make an example out of these clowns. Or perhaps we're going to pursue individuals like this, prosecute them to the fullest extent that the law will allow. Because you have a university police force. You have power there. King said the police responded quickly to the scene, but the group had already vanished, according to them, vanished, all right? Neither video surveillance sightings nor any more witness sightings were reported for the remainder of that evening. King asserted the group had no affiliation with the school whatsoever, but said their actions are consistent with that of a group that had been visiting other campuses to wreak havoc. Amazingly, they have not been caught, even though they can go on college campuses, get out of their vehicles, and start projecting racist symbols on their buildings. All right, put them up. The Roots notes the actions actually line up with that of the Blood Tribe, a group described by the Anti-Defamation League of embracing neo-Nazi and white people are superior ideology. See, this is a gang, all right? They operate like a gang. They're not a group, they're not an agency, they're not an organization, it's a gang, okay? Just because they go by Blood Tribe rather than Piru blood does not matter. This is a gang. A former U.S. Marine turned tattoo artist and neo-Nazi leader. The ADL documents, Paul Haas, who built a white supremacist encampment in 2022, crashed a drag queen story time event in Ohio in 2023. In that event, a "There Will Be Blood" banner was raised. Keep them up now. Now, this guy's claim to fame is that he was able to disturb a drag queen story reading hour. And his followers celebrate him for this. Since the incident, the presence of police patrols has increased on campus and students are asked to come forward with any information about the incident. Unfortunately, UW Whitewater students weren't the only ones to be ambushed by a racist, anti-Semitic tirade, particularly in light of the Israel-Gaza war. So many campuses have been pummeled by these incidents and attacks that the U.S. Department of Education had to open a federal probe in November to investigate the pattern of campuses becoming hotspots for hate. Now, this is when I also criticize the federal government, because naturally they have a responsibility here as well. Federal dollars, that's our money, by the way, federal dollars goes to these institutions. Those federal dollars come with actual policies, protections, and adherence. You have to do particular things with them. You have to have certain policies of protecting students, including protecting them from racism. And when the enemy of education is so, let's just say, abnormal, given the normative day of education, the federal government has to step up in a major way with enforcement, not just a phone call or a person manning the lines. It's one thing to say, I have somebody I can call at the Department of Education. It's another thing to say, we literally have a way to stop this and to handle it if it happens based on the enforcement of our federal authorities. They don't have that yet. All right, Wosny, thoughts here?
It's obviously a shame and quite regretful that these type of hate groups have felt a little bit more emboldened to make themselves more publicly visible, particularly in the last 3 to 4 years. It's been quite a sight to be seen. this variety of Joker who takes a laser pointer, essentially. I have one of those laser pointers for my cat, and if you turn the dial, it goes from like just a red dot to like a drawing of a mouse in red. They did
Can
that.
we get one that says indisputable? Can we do that?
Probably, I think so.
All right, that's what we're going to do. I'm going to roll up to a white university. And I'm going to put up indisputable on
And the fact that they projected a swastika with one of those things and think that they're doing something, I think obviously this is hateful, it's hurtful, it's awful, and it needs to be stamped out. But I would tell our listeners, man, these guys can't win. Yeah. They just don't have it. They're not going to beat us. They're not going to overcome, our movement and what we're trying to do out here. And so this is just futile stuff of people who are going out of fashion, going out of business. And this is why they have to do this kind of look at me, Louis type of stuff.
Well said, dear brother. They will not beat us. They will not win. I completely concur. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
You're about to watch some behind the scenes footage of the Young Turks.
Ooh.
Now, these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member, go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind the scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like tyt.com/join, and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey, hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitsing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny Pie. I said it was live stream, but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members. Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent.
Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here. This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Jank. Man, you're a Young Turks viewer if you recognize me like this.
Such a big fan. Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, aka Woke Bay.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
This is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. Referred to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT?
Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing. Oh, that was disastrous. This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
Indisputable is still the fastest growing news show in America compared to CNN, Fox News, and 30 other networks. We tell the truth on Indisputable because the truth is indisputable. We go places that other news media outlets refuse to go. When there were human rights abuses happening at the Victorville prison, guards and members of the community contacted us.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
It really doesn't take much to be a trusted voice. All it takes is to be fearless, report on matters, be an advocate. I called it the bullpen intentionally because it's a place of preparation. We present individuals who may have an opposing view, so we debate. Sometimes we interview individuals because their stories deserve to be heard. A survivor of significant police misconduct and his attorney. We covered this story earlier and to remind you of the horror of one man being shot at damn near 100 times by the police. We take time on this show to showcase the temper tantrums of Karens in the wild. We do this not because we want to see people's emotional outbursts in public, but because these incidents are emblematic of a bigger societal issue taking place across the nation, and it has to be checked. My friend, my big homie, attorney at law, Benjamin Crump.
I just want to thank you, man. When educated, articulate brothers like yourself speak truth to power, it makes a great difference in changing the landscape in America.
Listen, no matter what you do, don't allow the politics of ideology to evaporate the soul that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reform, so I won't stop. You won't stop either. All right, welcome back. We have a lot of show left. Let me read some of these amazing comments. Next TYT reporter says, here, I'll translate this educator's letter. Racism, 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 yet more racism. There you go. Yep. Brett Campbell, AKA dragging my ass, which means critical thinking is forbidden curriculum in his school district, talking about the whole, conformity garbage by the superintendent. Really insane stuff. Lynn, I'm sure it was the first time these dudes were on a college campus. Well, no, if you count the one they had just came from, it was their second time. All right, and James Thompson. And thank you for that, James. I believe in the new test, old one was for hateful savages. Love it. And or step aside. I'm a lover. My mother has been brought home and is on hospice. I have a little bit of help for months of AML. Bless your heart, and my prayers, positive vibes with you, all right? Okay. Got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
I'm Deputy Ortiz with the Racine County Sheriff's Office. Stop because your seatbelt isn't on, and we're actually out. You put it on when we were pulling up behind you. I watched you.
That's not true.
And he looked.
Your body was fully leaned forward, sir, when you took the turn on.
I watched you put it on. We're not going to argue about a $10 seatbelt ticket.
Hey, it's right here.
Okay, driver's license and insurance. Okay.
I'm not giving you nothing. This is not.
Driver's license and insurance, sir. You're going to make this more difficult than it has to be.
Are you planning on calling us today?
No, you're not going to kill you. Okay.
With your body camera, I have my seatbelt on. They're running, right?
You put them on, sir. Now, please put them on, or I'm going to ask you to step out of the vehicle. And when I do so, that's a lawful order. And if I have to, I can forcibly remove you from the vehicle, sir. All right?
I broke my glasses. You like that?
Yeah.
$150 glasses.
Well, that's your problem. Okay, you're acting like a child right now.
My money? Here.
You're acting like a child. I want your driver's license and your insurance.
Here's everything I have. Here's my money. Here's my
You're
money.
acting like a child, sir.
Here's my card. Here's everything.
Your driver's license, sir. Hand it to me.
Take my money. Take this too. Take that.
Your driver's license, sir.
You're just destroying all my stuff. Ruining my holiday.
Yeah.
You should be something that I'm doing. Ripping up the money. I spent $500 for my family.
That's great. Driver's license. Are you intoxicated, sir? What kind of drugs are you on, sir?
Well, here's a, you need this too. We'll just rip that up too.
What kind of drugs are you on, sir?
Got none down. Here, take this.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, so you can take my money. So you can take my money.
He's high on privilege, officer. This is the way you do not handle traffic stop. But amazingly, he's not dead. He did refuse a lawful order. He threw things at the police, and the police still gently took his driver's license. We literally reported on the story. It was an exclusive where a young lady named Miss Cooper was sitting by herself near a beach. Officer comes up, tells her license. Now, she asks why. He then says, I'm going to pull you out the car, proceeds to do so, and physically assault her, giving her a black eye. Her charges were dropped. He arrested her. We covered it. Charges got dropped. This individual, you have to imagine something. This individual literally opposed every command and started to throw things at the officers. I want you to imagine a black male sitting in that car doing the exact same thing, okay? Do you believe the officers would have been as courteous, as patient? I mean, they never acted as if this person was a threat. Then they started saying, what kind of drugs are you on? How much have you been drinking? Are you intoxicated? If they believe these things, why is he still behind the wheel if you believe he's high or drunk? Why did you take his license? This is the opportunity that the law gives you to temporarily detain. Nope. Let's just make sure he doesn't have any warrants. All right, Wosny, the hell of a thing, man.
As I watch that, I'm reminded of all the times I've been told by certain people that all you have to do in order to not get killed is simply cooperate with the police. What goes unsaid in that statement, Dr. Ritchie, is that if you are uncooperative, if your ass get killed, it's your own fault.
Yep.
Right? Meaning, so if this brother got killed in that instance, the police would have been well within their right to kill him, not even just forcibly restrain him, forcibly detain him. According to that logic, this brother would have had the right to be killed by the police. And so it's quite unfortunate that people take that tact. What I would say is that the level of patience and restraint that was shown by these officers, I would really hope and pray that they extend that courtesy to every single citizen that they encounter, be they white, black, brown, or other.
Amen to that. And that's the point. It's not that we wanted the driver to be assaulted. We simply want the rule to be equitable.
If he would have got smacked up, I don't think I would have cried about it. But,
I mean, just at a certain point, he was supposed to at least,
come on.
Not
throwing money at the officer. That's ridiculous. Come on.
And got away with it. All right. A pastor caught up in a $3.2 million cryptocurrency scheme says, but the Lord told me to do it. Put up the picture full mass. All right. Eligio Regalado, an online pastor of Colorado. I'm sorry, the story is quite insane. All right, so he's an online pastor. He claims he was following God's guidance when he engaged himself in this fraud. He now faces charges of civil fraud and the alleged sale of $3.2 million in bogus cryptocurrency that state regulators say is practically worthless to those who fail for the scheme. Now, we got some twists and turns here. A legal complaint filed last week by Colorado Securities Commissioner accuses the pastor and his wife, her name is Caitlin, of scamming Denver's Christian community with counterfeit digital currency that had been promoted under the trendy moniker Index Coin, okay? Confronted with the charges, the pastor released a video statement saying that he might have misheard the divine instructions, leading. I'm sorry, man. I got to get through the story. All right, leading to the violations of Colorado's anti-fraud licensing and registration claimed. The pastor claimed. The Lord said, this is a quote now. The Lord said, I want you to build this, the pastor claimed. We took God at his word and sold a cryptocurrency with no clear exit. You see, the pastor's basically saying, I was living on faith. I didn't know the exit plan. But God told me, and so I did it. Guys, I'm talking to all of the pastors who get caught up in stuff like this. Do you think maybe possibly y'all are talking to the devil? If you're ripping off people, okay, stealing money, and you realize it's wrong, at some point you got to say it's wrong. then maybe you're not talking to, the Almighty. There's more. In a statement, state regulators claim the digital currency was marketed as low risk, high profit investment. Already a red flag. Okay? Every investment has significant risk. When in reality, the assets were undeclared and thus ineligible to be converted to cash through the typical means of a digital platform or trading exchange, rendering the coin practically useless. We allege that Mr. Regalado took advantage of the trust and faith of his own Christian community and that he peddled outlandish promises of wealth to them when he sold them essentially worthless cryptocurrencies. Colorado Securities Commission, Tong Chain, said in a statement. Now, this is interesting because it kind of fits the mold of how Donald Trump wins primaries and how Steve Bannon stole money to build a wall that did not come. Remember? Literally, Bannon said, give me money, I will build the wall myself. I won't get a penny of this money. And then he rerouted it through foreign accounts and got all the money back. All right? There's more. The filing said more than 300 unwitting investors lost millions of dollars. That is so sad. Millions of dollars, which the duo used to sustain their extravagant lifestyle. The couple allegedly sold the digital coin from June 2022 to April 2023. The pastor claims he and his wife only raked in about 1.3 million from the sales and admitted to spending a few $100,000 on a home remodel. That, once again, the Lord told us to do, end quote. And then he says, quote, either I misheard God and every one of you who prayed and came in, you as well, or two, God is still not done with this project. Come on, give me some more money. Listen, man, this man is facing serious federal charges and still conning people after he's charged. The pastor acknowledged he had no previous experience in trading cryptocurrencies, but said he launched Index Coin because God told him to. Quote, God is in the business of doing new things and breaking seals. And he did tell us to do this. I said, Lord, I don't want to do this. I don't know how to do this. I don't have any experience in this industry. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to be caught up in something. The pastor blamed technical issues for his ordeal and denied anything criminal had occurred. Quote, we launched an exchange. The exchange technology failed. Things went downhill, the pastor said. I know this looks terrible. The business venture sank in November. Around the time the pastor said he had a mental breakdown due to signs the operation was failing, leading to demands from investors to get their money back. Put him up full max again. He had such a believable face. If they would have simply posed one question, Pastor, where's your church located? Oh. Wosny, it's really sad, man, because the individuals that gave, right, they likely are very sincere, faith-filled people who probably, ironically, probably vote for Trump because that's his crowd too. The Christian side or the faith-based side of this is being exploited by both political figures and figures of actual alleged faith. And so they're getting it both ways. So they get it politically. They're getting it now through people that claim to be pastors. And at the end of that equation is what? Usury. Give me what you've earned. Give me your money, and God is going to take care of the rest. And typically they just end up broke, and they have absolutely no way of getting all of their money back.
Yeah, it's one of the worst grifts around is when people use, the veil of divinity in order to separate people from their hard-earned dollars. It's quite sad when that happens, and they hear this fool in his court claim talk about he must have misheard. It's it's funny because I'm reminded of, my dear mom who's no longer with us, but I can remember times in the house when she would say my name in such a way that I'm just like, wow, okay, this is pretty serious. I better, listen up to what she's about to say. I would think that if I heard the voice of God himself, I would assume that I would probably get the gist of what he was trying to say. Like, I wouldn't get it completely wrong. Like,
That's
I'd probably
such a great point.
oh, I'd probably get
That's a great point.
Like, to completely get wrong the calling of God is nuts. But no, I throw it back to you, Dr. Richie, as obviously somebody who is faith-based and is in the church community damn near your whole life. Like, how does it feel to see these guys use the Lord and faith to just rob people for money, man?
Man, it's maddening. It's maddening. And the reality is these individuals will likely be forgiven because that's part of the doctrine. And I try to encourage all of my faith colleagues in the ministry and beyond. You don't let other people hijack your faith. And God gave you a brain before he ever gave you a book. I truly believe the first book is nature, how things work, cause and effect, cycles, ecosystem, etc. Books came because of guidance from men. There's a reason why men could have more than one wife and women could not have more than one husband. Men wrote the damn thing. Understand humanity is affixed inside of that context always. All right. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable, stick and stay. Indisputable is still the fastest growing news show in America compared to CNN, Fox News, and 30 other networks. We tell the truth on Indisputable because the truth is indisputable. We go places that other news media outlets refuse to go. When there were human rights abuses happening at the Victorville prison, guards and members of the community contacted us.
You, through your investigative reporting, unearthed very troubling allegations about specific forms of abuse and discrimination in the federal prison system.
It really doesn't take much to be a trusted voice. All it takes is to be fearless, report on matters, be an advocate. I called it the bullpen intentionally because it's a place of preparation. We present individuals who may have an opposing view, so we debate. Sometimes we interview individuals because their stories deserve to be heard. A survivor of significant police misconduct and his attorney. We covered this story earlier and to remind you of the horror of one man being shot at damn near 100 times by the police. We take time on this show to showcase the temper tantrums of Karens in the wild. We do this not because we want to see people's emotional outbursts in public, but because these incidents are emblematic of a bigger societal issue taking place across the nation, and it has to be checked. My friend, my big homie, attorney at law, Benjamin Crump.
I just want to thank you, man. When educated, articulate brothers like yourself speak truth to power, it makes a great difference in changing the landscape in America.
Listen, no matter what you do, don't allow the politics of ideology to evaporate the soul that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reform, so I won't stop. You won't stop either.
Here I am, Nancy Pelosi, saying this country needs a strong Republican Party, and we do.
No one is representing what I call the silent majority, which is about 2/3 of this country, indisputably progressive.
But now we say the time has come for regime change in American television.
The Young Turks Network.
You have the Young Turks saying this is the time to fight for our values.
Young Turks is the oldest left media institution I believe that there is. Real front runner in the online media space.
You guys might know us.
biggest online left of center outlet that exists.
All of you know the Young Turks?
People from this district heard about Justice Democrats by watching your show.
Thanks to the Young Turks for covering Trayvon Martin's case early on when few people were covering.
They don't stop, I won't stop. Racism won't stop, so I won't stop.
Species are at risk of going extinct. Major media outlets did not dedicate much time at all to that.
We reached a whole heap of people with our progressive message.
We're not the Young Turks, you're the Young Turks.
It's time to break down the myths of the right wing, the political elite in both parties, and the establishment media. Myths like the media has a liberal bias, hilarious, or America's a center-right country, preposterous. The truth is that the American people are progressive, and no matter what party or media elites say, justice is coming. I've written a book that makes this clear and shows you we're gonna get it done. It's called Justice is Coming, and you can get it anywhere books and audiobooks are sold.
Project Hope is needed. I'll just say this, your viewers, this is not the time to be apathetic. I'll end with this point. The miracle was that Bernie Sanders came as close as he did. He would have been the nominee after Nevada if they didn't do all of these things of getting everyone to drop out. We're gonna have a progressive future in this country. And people don't realize how close we are. And the dam's about to break on the establishment control of the party. This is not the time for folks to give up. It's the time to double down and demand that we become a progressive.
All right, welcome back. I have some sad news to share. Marianne Kelly, one of our Twitch moderators, also known as Mary Animal, passed away on December 26th after a courageous battle with health challenges, leaving a void in all of our hearts. Mary's family reached out to express their gratitude. They shared with us, quote, TYT brought joy and laughter, confidence and friendship to her. They were a bright spot in Marianne's life. She loved her TYT family so much. Thank you all for being her happy place. She is loved by so many and will be missed always. At TYT, we will obviously forever cherish her kindness, her spark, her strength, her unmatched sense of humor. If you would like to pay your respects to the family, we ask that you consider donating to your local animal shelter in her name. May she rest in peace. I don't think we take time to realize how much this community means to everybody, all of us, right? Because we are supporting progressive values, we're also supporting the value of humanity, who we are. Sometimes we need to be replenished, right? So we need that connection. So God rest her soul, all right? She will be missed. Okay. So deputies in Colorado decide to taser a 16-year-old human trafficking victim, allegedly. Let's put up the picture full mass. This story has a lot of twists and turns, and it's quite unbelievable what these officers did. So per a lawsuit obtained by Atlanta Black Star, a group of Colorado deputies are alleged to have violated the civil rights of a 16-year-old child, a girl, who was reportedly the victim of a sex crime and used excessive force against her when she was detained 2 years ago in West Cliff, Colorado. This was January 18th, 2022. Lawyers representing the young child, identified as LZ in the complaint, allege Custer County deputies Michael Kirk and Miles DeYoung and Megan Robbins, alongside Sergeant Scott Henshaw, they were all involved in the detainment, which was caught on body cam footage. We have the screenshots here. The footage shows deputies, or a deputy, finding the then 16-year-old girl at a trailer in town with these two older men. Okay, look at this. They went into the trailer. These individuals are there. Deputies received a call that she ran away from home. So after the cop finds the teen, hiding in a closet, he handcuffs her, leads her outside. The complaint says the deputy alleged the girl tried to pull away from him after they walked outside. So he forced the girl face first into a parked car. Body cam shows after some time, Deputy DeYoung arrives to help Deputy Kier take the girl into custody. So you hear Kier ordering the girl to get into the back of DeYoung's car, but she refuses to comply and lets her legs give away to sit down on the ground. You see it there. After demanding she get up in the car, the deputies try dragging her instead, and at one point, LZ suddenly turns her head at Kier and is alleged to attempt to bite him. And the deputy gives her a warning, which while he's struggling to put her in the car, DeYoung asks Kier if he thinks she should be tased. So Kier says no. It's on the video. He says no. Moments later, deputies finally got the girl partly into the backseat and demanded she put her whole body in the car. So Deputy Kier asked her if she wanted to get tased when she would not comply and pulled out his taser. After deputies try ordering the girl again, Kier uses the taser on the 16-year-old girl, and the girl shifts her body so that she's fully inside the car. Before leaving the scene, Kier questioned one of the older men. This is the deputy. He questioned one of the older men the girl was with. He told both deputies that he brought LZ to the trailer from some unknown location and that she told him that she was 18. The man also said they regularly help addicts and others who need help and allowed them to stay in that trailer. However, the lawsuit alleges that, quote, the situation presented all the hallmarks of sexual trafficking of a minor, but neither Kier nor DeYoung questioned the two men if they furnished controlled substances to LZ, the minor, were providing her with alcohol, or were engaged in sexual activity with LZ. These things are normative investigative protocols. They did not employ them. Neither the two men were ever investigated for harboring a runaway or contributing to the delinquency of a minor, according to the complaint. Body cam footage shows Deputy Kier only warned the man about a warrant. So they run the background. One guy has a warrant for his arrest, all right? But decided to let him go as a courtesy while promising to return the next day if he did not go to court. So one guy has a warrant. He has a minor in his home. The minor seems to be either high or intoxicated, and nothing happens to him at all. The officer just says, I'm going to let this slide as a courtesy, but you better go to court. There's more. After leaving, both of the deputies arrived at the sheriff's office, where Deputy Robbins and Sergeant Henshaw, they join in. Kier also retrieves a restraining chair to put the girl into. After Deputy DeYoung opens the police car door and demands LZ, the child, to walk out of the car, she remains inside. She's still handcuffed. Deputy Kier threatens to shock her again if she does not comply and get out of the car. She refuses to move, so the deputy uses a taser on her once more, and LZ cries out in pain before getting out of the car and into the chair. She also begins convulsing, hyperventilating, urinated in her pants, according to the lawsuit. Body cam footage does show her in distress and heaving severely. She's 16 years old. After restraining LZ, Deputies then escort her inside the sheriff's office, and the rest of the footage shows her gasping for breath as she is restrained and being monitored before deputies further restrain her and put a bite mask on her. The legal complaint states that Deputy Kier believed LZ to be under the influence of a controlled substance during her detainment. He requested that she be charged with resisting arrest, but the DA dismissed that charge after the girl's legal team filed a motion asserting defendant Kier engaged in outrageous government conduct, end quote. Tyler Jolly, one of the attorneys representing the young teen, said she was exposed to great injury, pain, terror, and risk of death, and that this kind of treatment would be excessive against a hardened criminal. To treat a 16-year-old child and the victim of a sex crime like this is absolutely disgusting. The suit seeks damages in a jury trial, and I hope they get it. The Custer County Sheriff's Office posted this Facebook statement, quote, "The Custer County Sheriff's Office received notification January 17, 2024, that a lawsuit had been filed against 3 former deputies, and 1 current detention deputy. The lawsuit alleges that a deputy used excessive force while arresting a 16-year-old and 2 other former deputies, along with 1 current detention deputy, failed to intervene. The incident occurred on January 18, 2022, under a previous sheriff's administration. The current sheriff, Rich Smith, has not been served yet with a lawsuit, but is very concerned about the allegations. Sheriff Smith requested today the Colorado Bureau of Investigation review the January 18, 2022 incident, which is documented on body-worn cameras and in police reports. Sheriff Smith volunteered to support their findings up to and including the possibility of criminal charges. Sheriff Smith also notified the Colorado Post Director of the allegations. I got to say this about the current sheriff, all right? You have a chance here. Your initial response was proper. I will give you absolute credit for the initial response. Now, you should run a concurrent investigation along with the state authorities to make sure there's nothing left unturned. This was a child. This was a baby. The officers did not even question the men. What kind of connection or relationship did they have with these individuals who were housing this young girl? You know this smells bad. And honestly, Sheriff, because you're a constitutional authority, you don't have to play the game that other cops play. You can arrest other police officers. You can arrest former cops without the political backlash that someone will have as being an appointed chief. You should utilize the power of the people who elected you and do the right thing in the community by this child. All right, Wosny, thoughts?
Just a tragic, terrible situation. Just the way that these police officers comported themselves. Obviously, in the previous segment, we saw the police act, with the level of deference and patience that clearly these individuals did not afford to this young woman who was so obviously in an adverse situation. The idea that you would just manhandle and ragdoll a young lady like this is insane. And what I would say to folks is that the police, it's not just that they do this to Black people, they do it to the people that they deem to be on the fringes and the edges of society, who they decide don't deserve a level of respect and dignity, be they white, Black, brown, or otherwise. And so it's just a constant theme with these folks. When they feel like you're not one of the, upstanding, up and up people in society, then you're deemed less than and deserving of horrible treatment at their hands.
This is why we have to stand up for each other. This is why we are better, more able, more effective as a closed fist rather than an open hand, right? So the unity is required. So we stand with the victim and we advocate for justice for her and her family. All right. Hell of a thing. I was on the internet scrolling and I ran across this. Here it is. I think I actually would like to see that one more time. I'm trying to see something. Go play it again. That's one way to do it. Put up the picture full mass. TikTok caption read, Devin, get outside of that car. According to the Post, the mother showed up at a club because she found out her underage child was there. Went to the DJ booth, grabbed the mic from obviously an 18-year-old, and proceeded to take over DJing the party. And in her DJing skills, she had a remix about your mama showed up at the club to drag you out because you're 16. Wosny, we've all kind of been there. I gotta say, man.
Yes.
I have never been there quite like this young man.
No. My mom has never shown up to the place that I wasn't supposed to be at. I definitely got a smack upside the head by the time I came home. And probably the next time a couple of the homies came over, she gave them a stern talking to about the foolishness that we were engaging in. But for this woman to get up out her bed in the robe, still in the headscarf, and to let it be known, and my favorite part was when the MC or DJ tried to grab the mic and she elbow, sharp elbow. That was my favorite part.
Right.
You're not getting this mic back.
No. She seemed to be the only adult in the room, by the way. There's a lot of young people there, but she made sure her young person was up out of there. All right. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
Don't allow the powerful to see you feeling hopeless. Even if you do feel hopeless, wallow in your pity and your misery. And I believe me, I do it all the time in the privacy of your own home, but never let them see that they're getting to you. Never let them think that we're gonna give up or that we feel defeated or deflated. You gotta put your game face on and you gotta keep fighting.
The rest of the news media says you should not fight for positive change. If you do, you're not really a reporter or a journalist, because reporters and journalists don't care what happens. I don't agree. That's not written anywhere. That's not a law. It's just a rule that they invented so that reporters didn't actually challenge the people that are in power. Well, we don't agree with that. We think we should challenge the people in power, that actually makes you a better journalist, not a worse one.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm new to TikTok, but about 3 years ago, I started my daily political news show, The Damage Report, because I noticed this trend where every morning I was waking up to this tsunami of news that was just generally dreadful and horrifying and shocking, and I thought that if I could spend my time helping people to navigate this, serving as a bit of a life raft, pointing out which news is important and why, there are worse ways to spend your day. We're not an average news show, and we don't want our TikTok presence to be average either, so feel free to let us know what you'd like us to do on the platform, and maybe give us a follow at The Damage Report.
All right, Amazon Prime members, here's how you can subscribe for free on Twitch. Start by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and then click that little subscribe or resubscribe button below the stream on Twitch. Scroll down and select the subscribe free with Prime button, and then you're finished. Close out immediately and share your little subscription alert with the chat. Send a cute message along with it and bathe in the sweet, twitchy, Bezos-funded love. Hashtag Bezos Bucks.
All right, welcome back. Good to be back. Kyle CH says a bite mask. So now they think she's Hannibal Lecter or something. Right, and she was handcuffed. So the bite mask, that was just punishment for being, difficult because she's a victim, right? She's probably afraid that these men are taking her to victimize her even more. Mo Fury, their mama needs an award. And she intentionally said, I'm not even gonna put on any clothes. That's a day you will never forget as a child. I promise you that. Bernie the Kiwi Dragon, you aren't to use a taser unless your life is in danger. Rosie, I thought she was going to backhand the dude trying to take that mic. Yeah. If he would have persisted, yeah. She reserved that. And also, me 2022, he's definitely going to be crying in the car. It is going to be that quiet cry where the tears just come down your face and you're holding it in. Yeah. All right. Charlie Kirk, once again, goes full racist, puts black pilots on blast, has some other stuff. He says, if I see a black pilot, I'm like, I hope he's qualified. It is a lot. Here it is.
And that's why I think this United story and the DEI story hits so hard, because we've all been in the back of a plane when the turbulence hits or when you're flying through a storm and you're like, I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off. And I feel better now.
No, I mean, like, you want to go thought crime? Like, I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
When I get on an airplane, I want my pilot to be like, "Hi, this is Chad." Maybe like a little bit of a southern accent.
Chad Buckworth here.
No, Chad. This is my 31,000th hour. I'm kind of bored, honestly.
Yeah, I could do this in my sleep.
But exactly. I want just like cookie cutter, like pilot. Yeah, this is so easy to me. I don't want LaQuisha James.
They have that
comes
like pilot voice,
and she's just like, "Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Pray for me."
And the truth is, it's just this is a creation that the left wanted, because
and they think you can't say anything about it because they'll call you a racist. And this is where we really have to take the gloves off and say your name calling will not get in the way of people's safety at 35,000 feet.
Take the gloves off, call you a racist. So you are. I'm so glad that one day, in the great by and by, all you gentlemen who go to a Christian church, you're going to have to come to the realization that Jesus himself is a man of color. I don't know how you're going to deal with it. That may be actual hell for you. Okay, here's the thing. So Charlie Kirk and your band of bandits here, understand that actually, per capita, typically black males, black females inside of a corporate industry have more qualification than their white counterparts. So the argument of qualification does not bear out in the statistical data. I thought you were a facts guy. Looked at stats. You know what I think? When I see a black pilot, this guy must be really good to make his way through this very white male-dominated industry in order to become a pilot here. But you think totally the opposite. And then blaming the left because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Kirk, are you aware that diversity, equity, and inclusion does not qualify a non-qualified individual to the qualification ranks? Did you know that? In other words, you still have to be qualified for the job. You cannot be unqualified or not qualified and still somehow get the job because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. You may not have known that because I don't think you read. So you would think that such comment would draw at least some level of backlash from the workers, but you'd be wrong. So what did Charlie Kirk do? What any good racist would do? Find him a token in order to validate his racist position. This is the ultimate, but I have a black friend who agrees with me. How can I be racist? That makes him racist too, doesn't it? Here it is.
Of this. We're a truth-seeking show, but I can say declaratively, this guy is not worthy of a national holiday. He is not worthy of godlike status. In fact, I think it's really harmful. It doesn't faze me, as you well know. We did a whole show on MLK and the whole thing, and it's just so everyone knows. I called Pierre up before it. You called it. We're like, hey man, we're doing this, and you were like,
I was trying. Oh, yeah. I loved it though. I loved it.
You did? Well,
I
thank you.
love that you were bold, and
That's very sweet.
There's so many black conservative heroes. Like there's MLK is not. He's not God.
He gets his own national holiday, higher approval rating than Jesus, right? How does your family treat you if you're okay talking about that?
No, I'm totally okay with it. My family knows we've had these conversations, so they know I'm gonna be honest about it. So my mom actually, she didn't. When I first had a conversation with my mom, she didn't take it so well. But the final straw, I think, was when she saw my support for Trump, and my mom and I actually stopped talking for about 2 years. And I was, I guess, the embarrassment to the family because of my support for Trump. I think that was way too far for her.
How'd you handle that? I mean,
I would be lying to you, Charlie, if I told you it didn't hurt. It's my mother. So it definitely hurt to hear that you're an embarrassment to the family. Mind you, I'm not out there doing drugs. I'm not out here gang banging. I'm a college grad. I mean, I'm not doing anything crazy with my life where I would feel like I'm an embarrassment. I just simply have conservative beliefs, and I'm supporting the conservative candidate.
Can I ask a provocative question?
Sure.
In Black America, would be embracing of Trump looked more negatively than gang banging at times? Not in your family, but generally.
One would think, I guess. I don't know.
Your mother was trying to do you a favor, sir. She was trying to make you come to your senses and was hoping that a sharp contrast in the relationship would jolt you out of the cult. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. Here's why you're an embarrassment. You decide to talk to a racist about racist commentary as he's talking against an actual hero of our nation, someone who raised the collective consciousness of our entire society and by proxy, the world itself, who was assassinated for his beliefs, decided to still put his life on the line, even though he knew he was probably going to be killed. You go on a show to besmirch the character of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. along with Charlie Kirk, who brought you on to do nothing more than to talk about how great white people are and how bad black people are and how Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is not all that great. Sir, you are a broken black man, severely. Now I challenge you. If you believe in the rhetoric you spew, you can come on this show anytime. I'm not a track star. Ask your friend Charlie Kirk when I flew all the way to his damn state to mop the floor with him. All right, Wosny, thoughts?
I mean, Tom's gonna Tom, right? We've known this our whole lives, Dr. Richie. Like, this is what these guys exist to do. And any black person who wants to make a fool of themselves by disparaging the very notion of black struggle and black liberation here in America and all over the world, there's always going to be a seat at the table for you in conservative and establishment circles. That goes, everybody in our space, in our industry knows that there will always be room for a black person who goes on and speaks contrarily to the achievements and the teachings of Dr. Martin Luther King. Charlie Kirk is just hilarious because I love this idea that there are white people that would be displaced by unqualified whites. Charlie Kirk knows he's a hack. He's talented. He's talentless. There's nothing particularly smart about him. He knows there's nothing special about him. So like if, a bunch of black people and people of color got their just due, he knows he'd be on the chopping block. He's not special, not talented. He understands that average as he is, if more black people got a fair shake, he would be out of a job, quite frankly. And by the way, I'm not the biggest DEI sort of freedom fighter either. Sometimes I think these DEI issues get preference to above issues that affect more Black people, quite frankly. You know, I've seen the other day that Kenya Barris is going to get to make a Black Wizard of Oz. And I'm like, yeah, this is what DEI in Hollywood gets you. I don't know how many Black people are served by this guy getting to make that movie. You know, so I'm of two minds of this thing, but let's keep it all the way 100. In the professional class, if more Black and brown people got a fair shake, Charlie Kirk couldn't exist. That's just period. And that's why he feels so threatened by it.
And the Charlie Kirks of the world, right, of the world cannot exist because this is not about qualification. This is about equitable opportunity. And once you even the playing field, all of a sudden.
Widen the scope of your inquiry, guys. We can do better than Charlie Kirk.
Well said. All right. Starbucks, they fire their baristas because they fought off a robber. Hell of a thing here. Put up the picture full mass. So these guys are heroes. They saved the day, all right? This is in St. Louis. 2 Starbucks employees who jumped in to prevent a violent would-be robbery have been fired. Michael Harris on the left and Devin Jones Ransom, not pictured, fought off robbery suspects, both Joshua Noe and Marquise Porter Doyle on the right last month. So let me give you some details. So this happened Sunday, December 17th. 2 men walked into the coffee shop at 212 South Grand Boulevard in St. Louis, all right? Carrying what appeared to be guns and telling everyone in the store to get on the ground and give up any valuables they had on them. However, when the 37-year-old Joshua of Potosi struck a patron over the head with the supposed gun, the gun cracked, okay? Realizing then the men are not actually armed, the would-be victims turned the tables on the would-be robbers. An attorney for Harris says he was struck in the face, leading to a struggle. Harris complied with the robbers' demands until it was no longer an option for himself and others, says Ryan Krupp, who represents the former Starbucks worker. Krupp says that after being struck, Harris realized he needed to take action or risk being killed. Quote, I just wanted to do the right thing as a person, as an employee, Harris said in a statement. Harris, Jones Ransom, and other patrons fought back, eventually managing to subdue Noe until police arrived. The alleged accomplice, Marquise Porter Doyle, 35, fled the store, was later apprehended. Combined, they both are now facing more than 20 felony charges for robbery, attempted robbery, and assault in the local circuit court. So the efforts of the 2 baristas and the Starbucks patrons were widely covered in local media. Praise for their quick thinking and for proving once again that even the type of city resident who pays $7 for a latte is not someone to be messed with, okay? Starbucks apparently, they just see it the same way. So last week, Harris was fired. Jones Ransom has been fired as well. Quote, Michael and Devin were promptly fired by the company without any explanation as to what, if any, policy they violated or what they should have done differently about the situation, Krupp said in a statement. He goes on to say that Harris had been outspoken about safety concerns at the store, which Krupp suspects may have been the motivation for the termination. Krupp said he and his client are planning to take legal actions against Starbucks. So let me explain this. It's called premises liability. If you have known adverse actions that could lead to harm or damage to another human being, you provide 0 additional security measures in order to stop the would-be threat or the ongoing threat, but you have warning of threat, you now have a premises liability claim because the company, well, they have a responsibility to make sure you're safe, especially when there's an issue that has been filed or logged on record. Reach for comment. Representative Starbucks said, quote, the safety and well-being of our partners, employees, And customers is always our first concern. All partners are expected to follow our carefully crafted protocols to ensure the safety of customers and partners during these situations. Laxman, let's put up the CEO Starbucks. So he says, yeah, he stands by it, obviously. And it's interesting because who crafted the how do you put it, well or carefully crafted protocols? Because, sir, if you are a part of crafting these protocols, you couldn't fight yourself out of a wet paper bag. The man was hit on top of the head with a gun, okay? Whatever your training policy may suggest you do, when was the last time somebody cracked you on top of the head with a gun? Everybody got a plan, Doc, until they get punched in the face. All right, Wosny, this is a hell of a thing, man. These individuals were celebrated as local heroes. All of a sudden, Starbucks does one of the greatest PR disasters of this year, and they decide to fire them.
I mean, these guys are exemplary employees. They went above and beyond the call of duty. All we hear all day, every day, Dr. Richie, especially if you watch, mainstream news, is about the apathy of the worker. Oh, these workers don't want to come in and work for this. They expect the world, blah, blah, blah. Young people, they don't have a work ethic. These guys showed so much character and heart and bravery, and the idea that they would be punished rather than rewarded for this bravery is absurd. And I think, man, this story is going to get around, and they're going to get their just due because they certainly deserve it.
Very well said. Woz, tell people how they can follow you, check out your great work.
Of course, I'm Big Woz on every single social media platform. Check us out at theringer.com for our sports and pop culture coverage. And make sure you check out the Woke Bros every single Friday with me and my co-host, Nando Vila.
Thank you, dear brother. Appreciate all you do, man.
All right, y'all.
Remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.